Hey everybody, this is Sam with Greater Seattle Korean Association. Welcome to Candidates Corner. And we're the recipients of the King County Voter Education Fund. And we do these live interviews with candidates just to get to know the candidate. And it's not really an endorsement, but again, we do it so that you can be ultimately more of an informed voter, an educated voter when you go to the polls and vote. But really, at the end of the day, what's most important is that regardless of your belief system or political skew, that we just show up. Last year, I believe, King County had an average of a 20 to 25% voter turnout, the same as with Snohomish County. And folks, we can do better than that. And so hopefully by getting to know your candidate, that this will, when we understand, then I think that breaks down barriers, and then that will help us to get out there more. And so today, we're very pleased to have with us Teresa Mosqueda. Hi, welcome, Teresa.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. So Teresa is currently our King County Council Member, District 8. And so we just want to share just a little about her thoughts and opinions here for our district. So firstly, Teresa, thanks again for coming on. And can you just tell us perhaps just a little bit about your personal background and currently your role as King County Council Member?
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, first, thank you so much for having me. Thanks to everybody who's viewing this. Thanks for all the work you're doing to get the vote out and the partnership with King County Elections. I think this is such a wonderful opportunity for us to share a little bit about ourselves, but also to thank you for the work you do.
Thank you. Well,
we see you in community.
Well, Julie Wise is great. She's been a great support. Yeah.
So thank you. And she's really making sure that there's voter drop boxes in every neighborhood, that there's multiple languages that are being distributed.
100%,
so I totally agree with you. We have a responsibility and obligation to vote.
Yeah, though, thanks for being culturally sensitive. So,
absolutely. Well, I'm thrilled to be here. And for the folks who might be watching this who don't have a chance to yet know me, I'm so thankful to be your current King County Council Member in District 8. Running for a re-election here in 2026 to try to serve on King County Council again for another 4-year term. My district actually has parts of Tukwila, all of Burien, all of White Center, West Seattle, Vashon and Maury Island. It has Capitol Hill, downtown, the Chinatown International District.
That's a lot.
And we go all the way up to Pike Place Market and near Belltown. So for me, this is a very diverse district, and it is an opportunity for us in this county to recognize how we can invest in working families, how we can invest in small businesses, how we can invest in the environment and equity and opportunity right now, protecting all residents. For me, this is a chance to make sure that King County truly has an opportunity to lift up and invest in our community that are immigrant and refugees while we're under attack right now at the federal government, and for especially communities of color. Did you know that King County is half people of color and
already? Wow.
And a quarter immigrant and refugees. So it's exciting to think about having representation on King County Council that more reflects that. Thanks to my colleague, Councilmember Stephanie Fain, who is now there.
Shout out to Stephanie.
Shout out, proudly representing. And Jorge Barron and myself, now the first ever 2 Latinos on King County Council, first ever when we were elected.
Amazing.
And we have Rhonda Lewis, who's the first ever African-American woman to sit in that seat. So I'm really proud to be on King County Council. And in a moment like this, when there are so many uncertainties, if you're a business owner, there's uncertainties about tariffs. If you're an immigrant and refugee family, uncertainty about what the federal changes mean. And for folks who are just trying to survive in this moment, housing is an uncertainty for everyone, from the entrepreneur to the worker themselves. We need to create more housing. So that's what I'm interested in doing, along with investments in parks and trees and just a more livable, walkable community.
Sure. You touched upon the diversity of District 8, and I was not aware that King County was already at 50%.
Near 50%.
Near 50%, but we're getting there, right? And so, as our women of color, and first of all, we're very proud for you to be our King County Council Member. So representing District 8, with our communities of color, whether that be Latino, Black, Asian, whatever that may be, how have both yourself and the council sort of ensured that the representation is there for our communities of color? And you briefly touched upon the current immigration status. So what can we do to sort of protect ourselves from what's going on at the federal level? Right?
Well, number one, I think what's really important right now for the King County government itself to distinguish itself from the federal government. There's so much distrust in government right now. And the worry that is being imposed in our community from federal troops coming into cities and counties, from the federal uncertainty and the whiplash effect of immigration laws being changed. What I hope is that King County sends a clear message to all residents. We are here to protect. We are here to respect. We are here to invest in our communities, especially immigrant and refugee communities. The sad part is, because of the federal administrative policies, laws, we can't intercept with an ICE officer, but there's a lot that we can do to try to protect our community. So my colleagues and I on King County Council, we are stepping into this moment to say any tool that we have at the local level, we need to be using to protect our community. I helped to lead, and I sponsored a policy that says, any King County parcel that's owned, leased, controlled by King County should not be used for any ICE staging. No operation planning, no deploying of federal troops, no staging and corralling of people. You can't use it for planning or storing your vehicles. And that's a really important message to send to members of the public, to know that King County is not complicit. We are not compliant in these massive raids and deportation strategies that we see in places like Chicago and Minneapolis. So that's one policy that we passed to really protect our King County land. The second thing is that we said, ICE, you don't get the chance to create a new deportation detention center here in King County. So we prohibited ICE from either creating an expanded or new detention facility in King County. And again, I think that that's one tool that we can have in our tool belt to show ICE and the federal government that the types of sweeps and massive operations, pulling people out of their vehicles, their own homes, off of work sites, it's unacceptable. And then lastly, I would say we've invested. We made sure that we put money into the budget for legal defense strategies. We put more advancements into public health to make sure our public health clinics can stay open and available to everyone in multiple languages, so that people know Public Health Seattle King County is there to continue to serve people. And lastly, we wanted to make sure that people knew that in King County, we're continuing to move forward on respecting and investing in everyone's rights. We expanded our welcoming county policy to show that we weren't afraid of the threats and the rhetoric from the federal administration. But in King County, in Martin Luther King County, I should say, which is its full name, we're going to expand our welcoming policy and protect the rights of everyone. So those are some examples that we've done with the tools that King County has in every way possible to defend the rights of residents here.
Interesting. That's great. That's great to hear. You know, World Cup is just a week away, next week.
A week away!
It's pretty crazy. I'm sure you guys have been swamped planning, and a great job on planning this so far. And so, as you know, there's a lot of huge watch parties planned, including us. Quick plug, June 18th at Seattle Center. It's a Korea versus Mexico World Cup game at the Mural Amphitheater. And then we're going to do a K-pop festival before that. Now, that's all great and it's all fun. It shows unity and solidarity in our communities. And, you know, I think it's very intentional that we have Mexico versus Korea as well. And so when you talk about, well, we're prepared, we have the welcome centers. And so can you kind of, but maybe at the same time, there may be some reluctance perhaps or hesitation. Can you give some maybe encouragement to our communities as to how Seattle and King County is prepared?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, number one, June 18th, people, are we talking about like from 1 to 10 p.m.?
It goes all night. All night,
okay.
DJ after party after.
You heard K-pop and mariachi bands together, so that's going to be a party. That's one way to show the harmony
What
in
more
this
could
community.
you want?
So that's a good motivator. I think similar to the kind of comments that we were making while we reinforced and strengthened our public health system, we wanted to tell members of the public, don't select out of healthcare. We are here to care for you. And by reinvesting and reinforcing our community public health services and clinics, we told folks, this government, this county, this local municipality is here to care for you. I think a similar message around the World Cup is really important. Don't select out of going to these events. The fan fest opportunities down by the stadiums, the community small business support, it's going to be amazing. It's a palpable excitement, and we need to like show up in numbers. I think that pushes back on the fear and the narrative that folks are out there worried about what the federal administration might do. I think we have strength in numbers, and that resilience, that optimism is a way to fight back on the fear. And so turn out, show up on June 18th and the other events that are happening, support the small businesses, and really make sure that the community knows that this is how it looks to come together in a moment of fear. And, let's have a different narrative than we had. Remember the MLB, the big baseball tournament that happened, and there wasn't enough directions telling people to go enjoy the CID and turn out and support small businesses. I hope that the outcome of the World Cup is that all the small businesses felt the love and people really could see community coming together.
I see. So I like that. So instead of crawling back, let's push forward, lock arms, and strengthen numbers.
And dance to the music.
That's it right there. You heard it from Teresa Mosqueda. She's going to be up there.
I'll see you at the K-pop and the mariachi.
Up on the stage. All right. Awesome. I love it. So let's talk a little bit about, here in Seattle and also in King County, you talked about support for our small businesses. And as a small business owner myself, and there's, our communities of color, many are entrepreneurs and small businesses. So we want to ensure that whatever kind of people see on the media and hear, that that information is true and accurate and correctly being reported. And so, and sometimes people may have a certain perception about the lack of small business report. But as King County Council member, can you just share a little bit about how our small business and entrepreneur community can feel encouragement by what King County is doing? Yeah.
Well, I actually think that the public policies that King County and any level of government make are actually better informed when they come directly from community, including directly from small businesses. So we have this great example in King County in my first term where the Greater Seattle Korean Association plus the Latino Chamber plus Tabor 100, which is largely African American small businesses, in addition to Greater Seattle Business Association, which is our LGBTQ community. The four entities came together around a policy that we were percolating on, because what we had heard in our office is that it's unfair for small businesses who are in the food sector if there is a business that is operating and actively circumventing the laws, right? Intentionally not paying workers even the minimum wage, not giving people rest and meal breaks, requiring people to come in when they're sick and not letting people go home when they feel ill. That is a bad public health policy as well. And as the chair of public health, as a person who cares a lot about worker protections, the two worlds sort of collided to say, there seems to be a policy opportunity here for us to protect small businesses who are trying to do the right thing and weed out the small businesses, or I should say the large businesses in some cases, that are actively not trying to comport with the law. So now we have a policy on the books that the Korean Association, Latino Chamber, GSBA, and Tabor 100 help to inform on how we could actually change our approach to businesses who had refused to pay minimum wages, refused to comply with labor standards.
Nobody appreciates that.
Because what folks within the Greater Seattle Korean Association said, in addition to these other entities, was that's not a level playing field, right? If the guy down the street is undercutting me with not paying minimum wage, then I am actually being harmed by their irresponsibility. And the public health is being harmed too if people don't have the chance to wash their hands and go home when they're sick. So we passed a law that said public health inspectors, if there is an active labor violation that has not been remedied and the appeals period has passed, at the very least, we want public health to go out and do an additional inspection. So I want to thank you for the work that your team did and the collection of, minority business associations who came together to say, we are stronger when everyone plays by the level playing field. And that's a great example of how we can make sure that small businesses aren't being undercut by like the Jimmy John's down the street that's not paying the minimum wage. And really lifting up our local entrepreneurs here. And that's another good example of where the policy was strengthened by hearing directly from small business owners about how to make it more approachable, how to make it workable, and how to make it equitable.
Got it. So King County is looking at the granular level, supporting our local small businesses, as opposed to the big food chains that are they have different, perhaps they have different objectives, as opposed to our local needs here, like homegrown. Yeah.
And also strengthening our department's willingness, ability, and capacity to do multiple language communications, have multiple touch points with folks, assume best intent, and really work with folks like from a technical assistance level to make sure people know what their opportunities and responsibilities are. That is a very important approach to building trust with government in this moment when government is so highly feared. Let's distinguish ourselves in King County and show what it looks like to partner with small businesses to bring people up to speed.
Got it. Great. And so with your background as a labor advocate and proponent, there is also, do we believe that we can achieve a good medium, a happy medium for laborers to work with small business? And in your eyes, how can we achieve that?
So I love that you brought that up because my background includes working for the Washington State Labor Council, AFL-CIO, which represented about 500,000 workers in Washington State. And before that, I worked in public health. I worked at the Department of Health, the Community Health Plan of Washington, CMAR Community Health Centers, Children's Alliance on Healthcare Implementation, sat on the Health Insurance Exchange Board. So health and worker investments are my background, things that I'm passionate about. And I always love talking to small business owners to say, while I may have a background in working on labor policy, I know very well that folks don't have a job unless the business can survive, right? Sitting down at a table and negotiating how to make it a win-win for workers and the business owner is actually how you keep the business healthy and thriving and making sure that there's still jobs, right. And knowing that when we have a good dialogue and can come together on policy ideas with small business voices and worker voices at the table, productivity can improve, longevity improves, turnover decreases. Those are all really good things for the bottom line. So for me, it's really actually, I think, a benefit to be able to say, sitting down and having negotiated policies on labor issues. I have experience with sitting down and sitting with business associations to figure out where is the sweet spot, the win-win, so that everybody has something that they can see as a benefit in the end. And that's how I approach public policy making too. Got it.
Thank you. And so your term it goes through the end of 2026. That's correct. So you're running for re-election again. Now, you could run for other positions. That choice and that opportunity is always there. But why would you choose to run again? And so, do you feel like there's sort of perhaps some unfinished business? And what's kind of on your charter or your plate? Like, these are some kind of issues we need to tackle that I care about. Absolutely.
So really for me, it's threefold. One is housing, the other is health, and the other is small business or economic opportunity.
Housing, health, and small business.
Housing, health, and economic opportunity. I think those are the pillars of what we should be focused on. So starting in housing, we made some tremendous adjustments to the comprehensive plan that King County had 2 years ago. When I arrived on council, places like White Center, which arguably can be considered more affordable in today's marketplace, they weren't slated to have any new housing come to the area. White Center is just down the street from my house. It's the heart of my district. It's unincorporated, and I know we need more housing there. So we put forward no less than 40 amendments that improved access to housing in places like Skyway, White Center, Vashon Island, unincorporated areas that are also urban unincorporated areas, so we could scale up the housing opportunities for first-time home ownership, for rental opportunities. The comprehensive plan was a good blueprint. But now I want to go back to King County to use some financing tools that have not been deployed so we can scale up. I want to use the county's credit capacity and debt capacity to actually create more first-time home ownership opportunities, especially for folks of color. That is an unfinished business item that I want to come back and build so that we can create the housing that's needed for workers, for families to stay together, for people to be able to have their parents or their kiddo with them.
So it could be multi-generational.
Absolutely.
And also scale up.
Absolutely. And to do that, next to parks and add more trees. That's what we added in the Parks Levy. So that's housing. On health, as we talked about, this is an area that I'm passionate about, but especially right now with the federal government's threats to Medicaid, we are about to see 215,000 people in King County alone lose their Medicaid coverage. Already in September of this year, we will see thousands more who are lawfully present immigrants losing access to Medicaid because of the federal changes. That means to me, King County's public health system needs to be strengthened and built up. So my commitment in my next term is to do that strengthening of the public health clinics, of the services, and creating that safety net so people really don't fall through the system, and that they have services in multiple languages, and it's culturally competent services as well. And then lastly, in economic opportunity, we talked about small business investment. We talk a lot in my office about opportunities for apprenticeship and training and workforce development. Those are areas where we've already begun investments. We told King County, for example, and this was something that your team was very supportive of as well, that we don't want the county to constantly just go to the same contractors that they have year over year. We should be thinking about which contractors live in King County, employ in King County, employ from economically diverse districts, so that we're really investing the public dollar back into the public good when we have contracts that go out. That's a policy that we passed called the responsible bidder policy. And thank you again for your support on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
That led to, I think, a possible change for more direct investments into small businesses here in King County, but it also talked about workforce development and training. So those are some things that I'd like to work on in partnership with the business community.
That's amazing. And finally, Teresa, thank you for your thoughts. Finally, just to touch upon with our voting cycle coming up here, we have the primaries and then the general. But you know, as we're doing these candidate interviews, with King County, the ethnic population getting close to 50%, as you say, as myself, as a person of color, and yourself as a person of color, what is your encouragement to perhaps our communities of color who may not be so active in the community or civic engagement, or even much less voting, and perhaps even to our youth, our young people, next generation? What is your encouragement to them to get out and get involved, and why is that important?
Well, thank you for asking that, and to all of the community, but especially to the youth. I'm glad you mentioned that. You know, you probably learn a lot in school about how in this country we're supposed to have representative democracy. Well, it can't be a representative democracy if we don't have people who sit in the seats that are representative of the communities that elected them. We are getting a lot closer with Stephanie Fain, with Jorge Barron, with Rhonda Lewis, with myself, you know, now stepping into these positions and being in a position not only to change laws and policy, but to direct funding. I think that one of the most important things is
they inform with our communities.
Absolutely.
We relate.
Exactly.
That's why, okay, I see.
And so having community members who are saying, you know what, it's not right. It's not right that we have not only like no sidewalks in our community, but it's not right that we don't have an opportunity for a playground. We don't have a spray park. We don't have, you know, you name it, a training facility for apprenticeship programs. We need more small business support and technical assistance. These are some of the calls that we get on a daily basis. We hear those calls and we translate that into budget priorities, into policy changes. So to folks who are saying, how do we get involved? Your council members should be available. And when we get your calls, it helps translate into better policy making. Voting is one really critical way to engage, but it's not the end goal, right? The election isn't about the person. It's not about the name. It's really about making sure that the local elections are truly representative, and that your representative hears you, and that they include the policy ideas into the laws that are being passed and the budget. So stay engaged, be, you know, relentless if you need to, pick up the phone, send the emails, because that's our job and we should be responding to those calls. So just offering to say, especially for folks who might be newer to the country or people who've been disenfranchised in the past and there's a lot of distress, call us. We do want to hear those ideas now.
Great. Thank you so much. So, and lastly, so what are some of the needs of your campaign? How are things going to kind of prepare for next year? And specifically, how can the community get involved with your campaign and also King County, like specifically?
Excellent. Well, I really appreciate the opportunity to come on and have conversations. Folks can find more information about me and my campaign at teamteresa.org. We are going to be doorbelling and canvassing out and talking to folks in White Center and Burien and Tukwila, all over Seattle and Vashon Island. And if you'd like to participate with us, you are absolutely welcome. We have a number of events coming up. Number one, it's my birthday next month. I'm born on the 4th of July.
Right.
But we're going to have a little,
early birthday.
thank you. We'll have a little party on July 2nd at Tim's Tavern with some music. The Dusty 45s will play. And that's just one way to come and have fun, like we were talking about, in these really hard moments. Lifting up opportunities for people to find joy is critically important, and to engage in the campaign so that your ideas translate into policy once we get reelected, knock on wood, is a great way for me to know more about what's happening in community. Let me know if there's a community center, a meeting that you're having, and I'm happy to come.
Awesome. Well, for Korean Association, we'd love to continue to partner with you
and
King County to help you bridge. So let's kind of, hopefully we can be partners to outreach together.
Let's do that.
And I think you hit it right on the nail, Teresa, is that outreach piece is so important. Just building these relationships, because once they get to know who you are, then the prejudice and the mistrust sort of melts away. I feel. Yeah. So thank you for offering that.
Absolutely. Thank you for the opportunity to be here.
So everybody, once again, this is our King County Councilmember, District 8, Teresa Mosqueda, and she's running for re-election again for next year's 2027 cycle. But her website again is teamteresa.org. So go check it out. If you have any questions, please reach out to us as well. But thank you again.
Thank you.
Right.
Okay, appreciate it.
Okay.
And I'll be on the primary ballot.
primary ballot. Don't forget it. Okay. All right. District 8.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you. 감사합니다.